Hey guys, so this is going to be the video going over your homework on practice with 45, 45, 90 special right triangles. I'm going to go through these problems here. I'm also going to be writing my answer because if you guys notice in the directions it says solve for x and y, and it says if you have a solution involving a radical, please also write that solution rounded to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so if you guys can get a calculator, whether it's your phone or kind of like a little handheld calculator here, make sure you guys have that handy because for some of these we're gonna actually need to be rounding for our answer. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean by that in some of these problems. All right, so notice for questions 1, 2, and 3, I highlighted these dimensions here because they're giving us the leg, right? So how we're going to solve for the other leg and hypotenuse will be very similar for these three. And then for 4 through 9, they give us the hypotenuse, and we have to work backwards and solve for the leg. So 1, 2, and 3 are going to be very similar, and then 4 through 9 are also going to be similar in terms of the process, okay? So for number 1, we notice how they're giving us one of the legs of our 45, 45, 90, right? So I know if this leg is 2, automatically I know my other leg is also 2, so I can write x is equal to 2 centimeters. That was easy, right? And then when I'm solving for my hypotenuse of y, right, that's just the leg, whatever that leg is, times radical 2. So if my leg is 2, that means y is going to be 2 radical 2 centimeters, okay? Now, since this answer involves a radical, I also want to round to the nearest hundredth. The reason why I'm having you guys do that is because on Mathia, sometimes they're going to ask you guys to write your answer rounded to the nearest hundredth, not in radical form. Okay, so all you're going to be doing is if you take your calculator, right, and you go ahead and find the square root of 2. So sometimes if you press the 2 first and then click the square root button, right, it gives you 1.4142, whatever it is, okay? Once that's on your screen, just go ahead and hit the times button, times, and then press 2 equals, and that should give you 2 point, if we're rounding to the nearest hundredth, 2.83, we're going to round that to. So now we're right equals 2.83 centimeters, okay? All right, for number 2, now again, they're giving us a leg, so I know if this leg here is 6 radical 2, I know my other leg here, x is also going to be 6 radical 2 centimeters. Now, since my legs are radical, again, same process, I'm still going to take that leg that now involves a radical and just multiply it times root 2. So what happens is, since these radicals are kind of like terms, right, I can go ahead and multiply radical 2 times radical 2 to get the radical 4. Right, again, I still have that 6 up front that I'm going to keep, and then I know the square root of 4 is just a 2, so I'm left with 6 times 2, which is equal to 12. So y is equal to 12 centimeters here, okay? So let me go ahead and just circle my answers so you guys can see them. Now again, 6 root 2 round to the nearest hundredth, okay? So I take my calculator, I'm going to type in 2, hit the radical sign, and then hit times 6, and that should give me 8.49. So under, I'm going to write 8.49 centimeters. Circle it. Okay. All right, for number 3, last one involving a leg. So again, if one leg is 4 centimeters, my other leg here, x is also 4 centimeters, and then my hypotenuse is just the leg times radical 2. So simply, y is just 4 root 2 centimeters. And again, if I put that on my calculator, okay, I'm going to go ahead and type 2, click the radical sign, and then times, what is it, 4? And that's going to give me about 5.66. 5.66 centimeters, and we can go ahead and circle our answer there. All right, so those are pretty simple, guys. Anytime they give you the leg, all you have to do, well, to find the other leg, it's the exact same answer, right? And then the hypotenuse, you just multiply by radical 2. All right, now for 4 through 9, we know instead of multiplying by radical 2, we need to divide by radical 2. Okay, so my answers for x and y in each problem, they're all going to be exactly the same number, right? Because we know these legs in an isosceles triangle, they have to be the same. All right, so let's see. For number 4, all I have to do is take that hypotenuse of 3 root 2 and divide by root 2. So I divide the radical 2 by radical 2. Those 2's cancel. I'm left with x is equal to 3 centimeters, and y is also equal to 3 centimeters. Nice, easy peasy, okay? Now, same thing for number 5. Again, they give us the hypotenuse, so to find each leg, I'm just dividing out by root 2. Now, technically, that radical 6 and radical 2, those are like terms, so I can just divide those 2 terms here and keep the 5 up front. So it'll be 5, and then radical 6 divided by radical 2 will give me radical 3 centimeters. So x is equal to 5 radical 3 centimeters, and y is also equal to 5 radical 3 centimeters. Now in our calculators, once again, so now I'm going to hit 3 instead of 2. So 3 radical gives you about 1.73, and then don't touch it and just click times 5, and that should give us about 8.66. Okay, so I'm just going to write that under here. So 8.66 centimeters. Okay. All right, now for 6, okay, since it's a whole number, I taught you guys that shortcut which you can use. If you can't remember the shortcut, I'm just going to run you through rationalizing again quick. So 10 divided by root 2. Again, to get rid of that radical 2 in the denominator, we multiply by root 2, denominator and numerator. And the denominator, radical 2 times radical 2 is radical 4, or square root of 4. And I know the square root of 4 is just a plain old 2. And then I'm left up top with a 10 radical 2. Okay, I can divide out those whole numbers. 10 divided by 2 is going to give me a 5. And then I'm left over with root 2. So both x and y, right? So x is equal to 5 radical 2 centimeters. And y is also equal to 5 radical 2 centimeters. Okay, and then in decimal form, okay, I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to click 2 radical symbol, and then times, what is it, 5? And that's equal to 7.07. So I'll write that over here. So it's also equal to 7.07 centimeters. Okay, draw a little arrow there. All right, and my last 3. So again, guys, the shortcut for this, since I didn't do the shortcut for 6, I'll do the shortcut for 7, 8, and 9, though, because it's the exact same process. So all you're going to do is you take that whole number, whatever it is, that hypotenuse, you're going to cut it in half. Right, so 10 divided by 2 would give me a 5, and then you just multiply by root 2. Okay, so for 7, if my hypotenuse is 12, I do 12 divided by 2, which is 6, and then I just do 6 times root 2 to give me 6 root 2 centimeters. Okay, so I'm going to do x equals 6 root 2 centimeters, y equals 6 root 2 centimeters. Okay, and then in my calculator, I click the 2, click the radical symbol, gives me 1.41, and then times 6 equals 8.49. So 8.49 centimeters. Okay, circle those answers there. So same thing with my shortcut. I'm going to cut in half that 8, or do 8 divided by 2 to give me a 4, and then take that 4 multiplied by root 2. So 4 times root 2 is simply just 4 root 2 centimeters. Okay, and again, this is my shortcut, guys, that I talked about in your lesson that I demoed in the previous example. So x is equal to 4 root 2 centimeters, and y is also equal to 4 root 2 centimeters. Let's see, 4 root 2. So we actually calculated that decimal back in number 3, which we know is just 5.66. I'm just going to write 5.66. I'm just stealing that answer. Okay, circle it. And then for 16. So again, my shortcut, just take the hypotenuse, divide it by 2, we get 8, and then just take that number 8 and multiply by root 2. So 8 times root 2 is just 8 root 2 centimeters. So x is equal to 8 root 2 centimeters, and y is also equal to 8 root 2 centimeters. Do we already have 8 root 2 on our paper here? Nope, so quickly doing that, I'm going to type in 2, take the square root of it, 1.41, and then multiply times 8 to get 11.31. So 11.31 centimeters. All right, guys, and that's a review of your homework.